Taoiseach, we welcome the appointment of the independent external expert in obstetrics to strengthen the incident management team's investigation into the tragic death of Savita Halappanavar. Yesterday, the Taoiseach said that he would not rule out an independent inquiry into Savita's death, and we feel that that's an option that could and should still be pursued. There have been calls from the medical profession for a legislation framework to be introduced along the Medical Council guidelines. 2 days ago, Minister Riley received the expert group report. This was set up to assess what had to be done following the European Court of Human Rights judgment in the A, B and C cases. He obviously will be studying it, but can you outline when it will be published in this House? And surely it will be published as soon as possible. It has already been reported in the media that the group do not recommend specifically legislation, but discuss a number of options that will be left to government to decide whether primary or secondary legislation will be required. Now, Taoiseach, obviously this issue brings out different opinions in people and communities across the country. Debates will, unfortunately, be heated, personal and at times irrational. Every TD in this House, as we all know, has been lobbied from all sides. Hopefully, the tragic death of Savita will allow the expert group report to be debated in an open, sensible and mature manner. We do not need to create any more division than already exists out there. And Taoiseach, in this regard, we have 3 questions for you. Can you outline when the report will be published so that it can be debated in the House? When will the government be in a position to respond to it? And finally, if you intend to refer it to the Oireachtas Committee on Health. Thank you.
Deputy.
Firstly, I want to take this opportunity to express my own deepest sympathy to the family of Savita Halappanavar. This is an appalling loss, which I think has rightly touched the hearts of all of the Irish people. It is, of course, true to say that we don't yet know the full circumstances of what happened, but I think that anybody who listened to Savita's husband yesterday has to be deeply concerned by his very dignified and moving account of what happened to Savita. I think that this is one of these moments, and I want to thank Deputy Collins indeed for the tone with which he raised this issue this morning. I think it's one of those issues when I think we are all reminded here of our duty as legislators. It's not a moment for shrill voices. It's a moment for respect, first of all, for a grieving family, for dignified discussion, and for determined action. I think we have to await the investigations which are underway in relation to Savita's very tragic death. But there are issues which we have to address and to which we need to bring legal clarity. It essentially centres around what happens in a set of circumstances where a woman's life is at risk, where medical professionals may not be entirely clear as to where the lines of their responsibilities and duties lie. And it was to address those, because these were the issues that were addressed too in the cases which went before the European Court of Human Rights. It was to address those issues that the government decided on its formation that we would establish an expert group. It's chaired by a High Court judge, made up of medical professionals, legal experts, to look at this issue and to bring to government recommendations as to what steps we can take. That group has now reported to the Minister for Health. I understand that the Taoiseach and I will receive the report sometime today. It will be considered by government. It will, of course, be a decision for government as to whether or not it will be published. There is a timeline that we have to comply with. We're required to make a further report to the Council of Europe by the end of this month. and we will comply with that requirement. So the steps here will be that the report is in. Obviously, the Minister for Health needs to have time to consider it and to judge what issues he will bring to government arising from it. It will be considered by government. A decision will have to be made in respect of its publication, and also I think a decision will have to be made in respect of how it's dealt with in the House. But I think we all need to be clear that this is an issue. It's been 20 years now since the Supreme Court made its finding on the X case. That it is time, in my view, to bring legal clarity to this whole issue. And it was to that end that we set up the expert group, and will now deal with the recommendations and the report that it has made to us.
Thank you. Deputy Collins.
Thanks, Taoiseach, for your reply. I agree with you, it is indeed a very sensitive issue, and I think it beholds all of us as parliamentarians and public representatives to engage in an open and honest debate. And I think the people out there are demanding that debate takes place as soon as possible. You've outlined some of the timeline there, Taoiseach, in relation to the reply that has to be given to the European Court, which is at the end of this month, early December. But we have to engage with the political process. Let's be honest about it here. There are varying views within all the political parties, within all sections of society. So I think it's incumbent, and my party think it's incumbent, that we publish this report and get it out there. And let's have a full and open debate. But also, will we have a debate in this House in relation to the State's response to the European Court prior to your reporting in December? And following on from that, December, our obligation and our commitment to report back in December is the only timeline that you've indicated. Where goes the timeline after that? What are the steps that you in government intend to take us through in terms of arriving at hopefully a consensus that will bring as many people along this journey as possible? Can you outline for us that, please, with a bit more detail? Thank you.
Well, first of all, I do agree that we should discuss this issue in the House, and I think it should be discussed in a reasoned and in an informed way. I hope I didn't give you the impression that the report will not be published. It's simply that government has to make a formal decision to publish the report. I do believe that the debate needs to be fully informed. We obviously have to look at the recommendations that the group has made. That was why they were set up, to look at the different options that can be progressed, to look at the issue in its totality and complexities in it. And the discussion that we will have will be based on that report. So that's the first thing, is that the report has to be, it's just in, it has to be considered, and government obviously have to see where we go with it. The timeline is that there is a requirement to make a report to the Council of Europe by the end of the month. We will comply with that requirement. What further steps will be taken, and how the issue will be progressed, and how we will deal with it, how we will get the legal clarity that we need to have on this issue, is obviously going to be based on what is in the report. And what I would envisage is that, yes, that we will have a discussion in this House, necessary at the Health Committee of the House. I think the issue is being discussed in the general public in any event now. I think that discussion needs to be a reasoned, reasonable, dignified discussion, and I think it needs to be focused on what it is we need to do to bring legal clarity to sets of circumstances that have been outstanding for a long period of time, that are very real. We have seen, and although we don't know the full details yet until the investigations are completed, but we've heard what Savita's husband said yesterday. And I think as legislators, I think we have a duty and a responsibility to respond and to act to deal with it.